Hello and welcome back to the show, everyone. I'm your host, Levi with Mailbox Money, and today's guest is Jason Schoolmeester. Jason is the Chief Human Resource Officer at Lifescape here in Sioux Falls, which is a nonprofit that serves children and adults with developmental, behavioral, and complex medical disabilities. Their goal is to help people live a more independent and fulfilling life. Jason, thanks for joining us today.
Good to be here, Levi.
Yes, sir, Jason. So why don't you start with some of your personal background, let the people know who you are here?
Sure. Relatively local. Grew up around here, just across the border of Minnesota. Farm kid, uh, raised on corn, soybeans, pigs, that kind of thing. So that the scooping out the hog house on Saturday mornings was just part of growing up and that piece. So, um, yeah, I grew up. Even though I was on the Minnesota side, the TV stations were 4, 5, 11, and 13, which were all out of Sioux Falls. So
Yep.
I do all the Sioux Falls politics and goings on growing up because that's really all we had for entertainment wise. Um, so attended Southwest Christian and not quite sure what I wanted to do with myself, but it was kind of that. I think my generation just there was this uh, piece you knew you needed to get that secondary education.
Yeah.
Um, Attended Dordt in Sioux Center, Iowa, and really enjoyed the psychology courses. So that was my major, but still didn't have um, a clear idea of what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Um, had a little stint at USF in the middle, but the University of Sioux Falls, and but finished back up at Dordt. And during that time, my job and then ended up being an internship took place with Hope Haven. So that was really my
Okay.
first exposure to this world of supporting people with intellectual developmental disabilities, behaviors, things like that. So really just loved the work, um, and that steered me down that path of.
What was your role with Hope Haven?
So my joke is I don't remember what we called it at the time, but the role equivalent in Lifescape is direct support professional, which is 80% of our workforce.
Okay.
You're working in the settings with the people, just getting through life, getting through day to day. In this case, it was a home for kids. Um, so the schedules worked out. They get home from school. I'd be done with school, and we get through the evenings, as best we could, and get through their
Yeah.
plans and things like that. So really loved that. Built some tremendous friendships with coworkers and saw some kids actually, achieve some success in life or meet some of their goals at least. And so after graduation, I took a different path in the 2000s, early 2000s. There was some difficulty in the job market.
Yeah.
Kind of though that was that time frame where people talk about putting in hundreds of applications and not hearing a single response. Uh, so not quite to that degree, but I was looking for a change. Part of the psychology degree, you really need to go on for more school to open up more opportunity. And I just was not at a place where I was ready to do that. So um, an opportunity with staffing came open, and this was supporting a local manufacturer um, with their supplemental workforce. So uh, it was kind of drinking from a fire hose
Yeah, for
in
sure.
terms of hiring in volume, interviewing in volume, finding people in different places. Um, and then we need 30 people tonight. We need 50 people tomorrow night, and getting on the phone and making those calls. So a lot of exposure really quickly to hiring and firing and just all this employment piece. Um, so that the company we were supporting was uh, was scaling back, and the company I was working for basically said, "Hey, we like you, but this is not going the direction we want it to. We have an opportunity in Talladega, Alabama. So we'll relocate you." And it's kind of a time of life. All my friends were just getting married, and so I thought, why not? And I probably when you hear Talladega, you think of the racetrack. That's really all I
Yeah.
knew. Um, so I thought, why not? Took the chance and relocated, and that was probably in 2003. And
So did you say you were just getting married at the time or
no, all my
oh
friends were getting married. I was I
oh all
was
your
I
friends
was
so
left I was
you
left over. Yeah.
you just had to
Um,
make the decision then. It was up to you then, huh?
correct. So
Gotcha.
no, actually, and then did meet my wife in Alabama. She's an Alabama girl. I ended up
Wow.
taking her back here, which weeks like this she reminds me of. Um, so yeah, that continued, and then I got on with um, a defense contractor in a truly HR role, and that was located there, and they were actually eliminating the chemical weapons stockpile at the Army depot there, and so that was an experience of a lifetime to be part of that, and working with a lot of I'd say outstanding people, and maybe um, people a couple standard deviations, whether it's intelligence or personality or um, ex-Navy nuclear types. They're their own flavor to deal with. So,
I can
um,
only imagine on that.
oh, for sure. So but it was a great experience. You really, um, you really learn to appreciate the following procedures, and because it is I mean, the term life or death, but um, that's what you have to maintain safety and maintain um, uh, operations, and so you make sure the procedures are good and you stick to those, and you really enforce that.
And
Um,
forgive me, this was with the same company that still asks you to go down to Talladega?
no, that was a transition I made. I
Okay.
was with them another 3-4 years after that, and doing various things and a lot of travel in the staffing world, and then this HR opportunity
Okay. Gotcha.
came
Yep.
to me.
Yep.
So, and yeah, stayed with that project until completion. Um, we relocated to Kentucky, basically doing the same thing with the same company. Um, and then we were at a point in life where mom and dad were still on the farm. Uh, they needed some support, and I remember it was a Christmas. We were visiting the farm, and it was just really tough to leave. And you know, like I we got back. I think it was the day after New Year's Day, and I just did a job search, and I saw Lifescape, a VP of HR role, and but then I got into a director level in my career, and I thought, well, I've never heard of Lifescape, but I saw something about a hospital, I saw something about a school, so I'm like, I'm not quite sure what this
What?
is.
Yeah.
But I put in the application, and I remember being homesick, and really, trying to figure out how are we gonna get back to the Midwest to support my folks. And it was probably March, yeah, probably this time of year. I got a call from a recruiter from Lifescape, and we started that conversation, um, and that was in 2018. Uh,
Okay.
and probably yeah, it was a long process. The CEO, tremendous, Ann McFarland, uh, got to know her very well in the process, but she was transitioning out. um, so the HR role was going to be new. There was a new CEO coming. I didn't know who my boss would be in 6 months. um, but just things came together, and it really to be in a position where I could support um, that role that I really enjoyed at the beginning of my career, and knowing you know, to the feeling of being able to support them and make them feel like the company is behind them, because it is the people that do that frontline work. It is so much on them, and it's the good days are really great, but the tough days are really tough. So
Yeah, no kidding.
um, and I'm kind of thinking, well, I get to bring in my background of procedural compliance, my expertise, and then this is a great match, and I know the industry. Um, so, uh, but as I kind of discovered Lifescape, boy, it gives back in so many ways. So yeah, I came on board, and then in that time frame, the new CEO started, Steve Watkins, and he was transitioning from manufacturing, a very successful career, private equity. He was making a change, trying to look for something a little more meaningful, a little less soul crushing. I don't want to speak for him, but I think he'd been there, done that, and he'd achieved those successes, and
Yeah,
really saw
absolutely.
an opportunity. So um, I think the team is kind of a mix of people that came in from the outside, as well as um, tenured experts and from human services. And so we've really got a great team now that takes all of that and mixes it together.
Jason, I'd love to hear, when you want to make the move back, like you said, you're checking jobs, saw Lifescape. You kind of joked about it earlier, but what was the conversation like with your wife, getting her on board to move to the good old Midwest here?
Yeah, well, I mean, she had some exposure. The first time I actually took her back, you get off I-90, you go through Laverne, um, and in the South, it's just different. Things kind of sprawl. A town just kind of
Yeah.
goes on, and the first time we went through Hardwick, she was like, "What was that?" I'm like, That's a town. That's an independent little town that and we're driving through the sections, and we're about a mile from the home place, and she said, "Are we lost? Or do we need to call somebody?" And I'm like, "Well, let's turn in here and ask for directions." And that was the home place. So no, she grew up. Her father was in the military, so she was kind of used to
Okay.
that.
Yep.
She's very close to my family as well, and we were ready to make that move. Now um, I think that winter of 2019, was just something she wasn't ready for, and I think that if that was the slush storm or whatever that was, so definitely,
Yeah. Remember.
she struggles with that piece. And then I think the other thing is, in some of the communities, people have just known each other for their lives, and they're friends
Yeah.
with, their friends
Very
group
fair.
include relatives. So it really is starting over in a lot of sense. And it's not easy to break in to, but we found a church family that's welcomed us, and
Amazing.
yeah.
Very good. Kind of now going back to like you said, you really like you saw things on Lifescape, like you said, they do stuff with adults, they kind of all over the place. In your own words, how would you explain Lifescape to someone who had never heard of it?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think we're definitely more, we've really worked on our presence, but uh, I'd say it is a all stages of life for people that maybe don't fit in the main line of healthcare needs.
Hmm.
And you know, I think the adult residential, other providers do that as well. We're the only one, our children's campus, where you have the hospital, the school, the residential all on site. And then, so we have kids that just come to school. We have kids that live on our campus and that go to school, and they come together. Um, you have to go a long way to find another campus like that. It's
Yeah.
regionally. So, um, what that does is it gives us the opportunity with multidiscipline therapy professionals to really work on the kiddos, from all angles. And with our outpatient clinics, we have that bench strength as well. So yeah, and just a personal story. I was mentioning kind of starting in the door of what I brought to the table. Just my youngest was kind of struggling in school initially, and a coworker said, "Well, get him over to the clinic," and it got him into occupational therapy, and that was a game changer for my family. And so really, flip that
Yeah,
perspective on his head is I can say Lifescape's done far more for me than I feel I can do for Lifescape. And
that's amazing.
yeah. Yeah, and every chance I get, if I talk to a family and they talk, I try to share that story, because we as parents, what worked with our other kids was not working. It was totally ineffective. He was impervious to uh, our parenting techniques from our other kids, and so
Hmm.
they educated us. They challenged him. They put him in settings to frustrate him, and then give him tools to get through that situation. So um, yeah, it's we touch a lot and that's the other thing. Once I started is I had a family member, oh, my baby got their cranial helmet at the clinic, and just the connections of people that I had no idea had been impacted by Lifescape.
Yeah, it really sound it's very life impacting stuff as you alluded to. It's deeply personal, but also extremely beneficial. What you guys are working on over there. That leads me into your actual role as in with HR there, kind of balancing that between the mission of Lifescape and then actually just normal business running and everything. How was that dance kind of work there? Was that a challenge that you had faced before in other places, or was that something brand new when you came here?
Sure. I think in the there's some things that are universal wherever you go. Sioux Falls definitely has some unique aspects to its personality in terms of workforce. Never in my career had I um, just had this level of competition for employment, the low levels of employment, or
Yeah,
low levels of
we're
unemployment. Sorry.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
We're I mean consistently around like 2% fluctuate a little bit, but extremely low.
yeah. Yeah, and then the I won't mention the thing from a few years ago, but the bidding wars for minimum wage.
Yeah.
Um, they were changing in real time, and I remember thinking $15 an hour was the boy, if you can reach that as an employer, and then we just shot past that as kind of the minimum. Um, so yeah, that piece is very much yeah, HR. What I love about HR is you get to partner with all the pieces of the organization. Um, there are definitely uh, regulatory risks you need to steer the organization around, and make wise decisions in light of that. Sometimes no, you can't do that, and sometimes it's, well, we can't do this, but we can do that.
Yeah.
Um, and so working around that, I think the piece of culture being now that's talked about it, it's as an environmental thing of any company, uh, and HR has shouldered a big part of that. And I think it's there's different approaches and all that, but the gentleman from Think 3D, they do a great job. One of the you
We had
have a
them on
call.
the show actually previously.
Okay.
They do amazing job.
They I think what I love about them is they can just turn a phrase, and like it's clever, and and you know exactly what they're trying to say, but um you have a culture one way or another, and you're going to pay for your culture one way or another too. And
That is the
that's,
truth.
I think that's very, very much true, you know. But it's hard when you have all these little residential settings, you know, in a home. How do you how do you project that culture into that home when it's three people working together every day? And so you can listen, you can respond, you can make those changes, and I do think that staying on um, a competitive pay structure and benefit structure, that's all part of it. Um, but if you know if your leaders aren't listening, you're really you're really losing the battle,
Yeah.
especially in this competitive market. So, um, but listening care, you know, the I think the other hazard is chasing the next thing. You know that this is the thing, and I joke. I think in some places it absolutely is the right thing. You know, but uh, if we get pet insurance, that everybody's going to be happy. Everybody will love us, and you know that's where I'm a little. Let's think about who we are. Let's think about what we're hearing. Um, you know, and are we hearing? Are these objections really is the thing really the thing? You know,
Yeah.
is it there's not a vending machine in this area? Well, hey, maybe we can do that. Great. But typically what you'll see if that same group's gonna be dissatisfied with something because the issue isn't the issue.
Yeah, yeah. You need to get to the real underlying issue rather than just, yeah, the first thing that came to someone's mind as an issue, right?
Right. And
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. People we have our patterns and you know, we interpret reality to as a so I don't have a vending machine, they don't care about me. You know, they don't care that I'm starving and you know, it don't have whatever it is, it's the thing is what does the thing represent in terms of what people are saying?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure that there's many challenges in finding that, but that's kind of maybe the fun of it, I guess, is and why you're around is to solve those problems.
Yeah, and
Jason, go ahead.
oh, I was just and there is nothing better when you do get that trust and people communicate and you say, wait a minute, we got something here and you can do something about it and you can make the world fractionally better for those folks. That's a good day when you can do that.
Very nice. I was going to ask you, Jason, is there anything kind of going on at Lifescape, maybe here in the near future, some other plans that you're able to share with us today?
Yeah. No, thank you for asking, Levi. The new campus we're working on over on the west side of town on Career Avenue, that is going to replace our children's campus on 26th Street. It's going to be a state-of-the-art 200,000 square foot facility with that hospital, that school, that residential therapy pool. It's going to be, you know, one of a kind. We've talked to there's some destination locations like Bancroft out east. You know, we worked closely with them in developing, and you're going to have to go hundreds of miles to find a campus like that. So um, the 26th Street location started as a polio hospital in the 40s, and you know we're dealing with upkeeping that facility, the boilers,
Yeah,
chillers, and
I can only imagine all the problems that come up with, yeah, something built
it's a
way back
sturdy
then.
building, yeah. But yeah, the upkeep is and the ability to you know just provide modern services
Yeah, absolutely.
is a challenge. So
Very
yeah,
cool.
we're on schedule, we're on budget, and you know early next well this time next year, give or take, we'll be fully moved in.
Amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
Jason, as we're wrapping up here, if someone is thinking about either the services of Lifescape or wanting to know more information about anything that you guys are doing, is there a certain spot that you would send them to get such information?
Yeah, our website, lifescape.org, is it has our careers page, it has the Journey of Hope, which is the building project, and then it does have a breakdown of our services and testimonies and stories from people who have been impacted by us.
Fantastic, Jason. Well, again, thank you for taking time out of your day to be with us. I'm super glad that we're able to highlight some of the things that you guys are doing there and letting people hear your personal journey, how you got to where you are. I think might inspire a few out there who are looking for more meaningful work. So thank you again for spending some time with us.
Yeah, my pleasure, Levi.
Of course. Well, thank you everyone for listening. We'll see you guys on the next one.